Welcome back to CIA Declassified. It is the turn of the millennium, a time of digital gold rushes and the naive belief that the World Wide Web was a frontier of absolute freedom. Banks were moving ledgers to servers, and private citizens were beginning to believe that a little padlock icon in a browser meant they were safe from prying eyes. In the fluorescent lit hallways of Fort Meade, however, that padlock was seen as a target. The intelligence community faced a going dark crisis, the fear that encryption would make the world's secrets invisible to the state. To prevent this, the National Security Agency launched a clandestine offensive. They didn't just want to listen, they wanted to own the math. This is the era of BULLRUN. Why the designation BULLRUN? The reason for the name is a deliberate historical callback. The program was named after the First Battle of Bull Run, a major conflict of the American Civil War. In the cryptic nomenclature of the NSA, this signifies a charge or a decisive offensive action into a new territory. In this case, the territory of private encrypted communications. It was a signal that the era of passive listening was over. The agency was now going on the offensive to run through the digital defenses of the global population. Let's pull back the curtain on the raw data. This isn't a story of magic. It's a story of money, math, and secret handshakes. Bull Run was a highly classified program aimed at reaching into encrypted data by influencing the design of commercial encryption software. The program worked in tandem with a British counterpart known as Edgehill. Records prove the NSA spent over $250 million annually to influence technology companies to insert vulnerabilities. The program targeted the dual elliptic curve deterministic random bit generator, a standard for creating encryption keys. Documents leaked in 2013 confirm the NSA used undercover relationships to ensure they held the master key. The agency employed man-in-the-middle attacks, intercepting and modifying data as it traveled across the web. The NSA actively worked to weaken the advanced encryption standard during its international certification. The program allowed the agency to decrypt SSL and VPN traffic in real time. The NSA maintained a database of backdoors in routers and servers manufactured by major global corporations. The agency used supercomputers at the Utah Data Center to brute force remaining layers of encryption. The NSA pressured the National Institute of Standards and Technology to approve encryption methods they already knew how to break. Bull Run was used to intercept diplomatic communications during the G20 summits. The agency utilized SIGDEV, signal development, to identify new encryption technologies as they emerged on the market. The program involved a signals intelligence enabling project which focused on making commercial products exploitable. Internal documents state that by 2010, the program had made vast amounts of encrypted data exploitable. The NSA collaborated with specific security software vendors to insert dead drops in their code. The program bypassed the encryption used by major global email providers. Engineers at the NSA developed custom hardware specifically designed to speed up the cracking of 128-bit keys. The agency used legal throttling to prevent high-level encryption from being exported to certain foreign markets. Bull Run specifically targeted 4G and early 5G protocol standards to ensure future-proof access. The NSA maintained a team of software archaeologists to find unpatched vulnerabilities in legacy encryption systems still used by foreign governments. A secret CNE, Computer Network Exploitation, unit was tasked with physically infiltrating server rooms to install Bull Run taps. The program utilized certificate authority takeovers to issue fake credentials for secure websites. Records prove the NSA shared BULLRUN data with the GCHQ to monitor European political movements. The agency utilized traffic shaping to force encrypted data through specific nodes they already controlled. BULLRUN compromised the encryption of several secure smartphone messaging apps before they were released. The program included a vendor outreach wing that operated under a non-classified cover name. The NSA developed a pre-computed tables for common encryption keys to allow for instantaneous decryption. Internal memos describe the internet as a primary battlefield for BULLRUN operations. The agency spent millions on social engineering to recruit lead developers at major tech firms. BULLRUN was integrated into the PRISM data collection system. The agency used quantum-resistant research as a way to identify which encryption methods were most difficult to break. BULLRUN influenced the random number generators and nearly all consumer-grade firewalls. The NSA established a secret liaison office in Silicon Valley to streamline technical collaboration with software engineers. Records show the program targeted the Linux kernel community to monitor for the introduction of new security patches. The agency utilized targeted hardware supply chain interdiction, intercepting hardware shipments to install BULLRUN firmware. Internal audits prove the NSA used the BULLRUN budget to pay for private security audits of commercial products, then kept the findings secret. The program compromised the encryption protocols used by international banking transfer systems like SWIFT. Documentation reveals that the NSA maintained zero-day exploits for over 90% of the world's most popular web browsers under the BULLRUN umbrella. The agency conducted cryptographic assaults on the firmware of commercial hard drives to enable data recovery from encrypted volumes. Records confirm the NSA successfully embedded mathematical trapdoors into the prime number generation algorithms used by major certificate authorities. The agency maintained a master vulnerability database which ranked commercial software by how easily the BULLRUN team could bypass its security. Reports show the NSA utilized interdiction teams at shipping hubs to open boxes and install beacon hardware and server components designed for foreign telcos. The program utilized fake updates delivered through compromised vendor servers to install specialized decryption keys. Internal budget logs prove that BULLRUN funds were used to sponsor international mathematics conferences to scout for recruits. The agency developed entropy reduction techniques to make the random numbers used in encryption more predictable. Records indicate the NSA used covert procurement to buy seats on international standards boards through proxy organizations. The program integrated with BullThistle, a sub-initiative to map the physical fiber optic cable routes of the global internet. Documents show the NSA successfully subverted the randomness as a service providers used by many cloud computing platforms. The agency utilized phasing attacks to bypass the timing-based security measures in high-end cryptographic hardware. Documentation confirms the existence of a decryption as a service portal inside the NSA for other three-letter agencies to use. A quote from a Declassified 2010 NSA briefing. For the past decade, the NSA has led a multi-pronged collaborative effort with its partners to bypass the security of everyday communications. End quote. A quote from a Declassified technical directive. Security is a trade-off, and we are the ones deciding what is traded. End quote. And a quote from a Declassified internal program summary. By 2010, the program had made vast amounts of encrypted data exploitable. End quote. The declassified files for BULLRUN are a testament to the power of the black marker. The heaviest redactions, totaling over 450 pages of solid black bars, occur in the commercial entity list and the specific algorithm vulnerability chapters. The alleged reason for these redactions is National Security Exemption B1, claiming that revealing which specific companies cooperated would cause irreparable harm to American economic interest and active intelligence gathering. Then there is the Satoshi ghost theory. It's a digital whisper that refuses to die. The idea that the NSA's blacked out pages hide the true origin of Bitcoin. Some suggest the agency designed the SHA-256 hashing algorithm used by the cryptocurrency specifically to create a transparent ledger. By encouraging the world to move to a public blockchain, the agency wouldn't need to break into banks. They could just watch the math. This would make the anonymous founder a brilliant piece of bull-run tradecraft. Then there's the universal kill switch theory. It's a darker rumor that suggests the redactions hide a logic bomb protocol. Speculators argue the NSA hasn't just built backdoors to read data, but has the power to lock out entire nations from their own encrypted infrastructure by triggering a dormant flaw in common operating systems. If true, these blacked out pages detail the digital version of a nuclear strike capable of rendering an enemy's economy and military command structure inert at the push of a button. Then there's the elite whitelist rumor. Some fringe analysts point to the redactions as proof of the private internet. The theory posits that BULLRUN contains a list of elite exemptions, specific individuals and organizations whose encryption is actually unbreakable. This would mean there is a tiered internet where the global elite have true privacy while the rest of the world lives in a glass house monitored by Fort Meade. They argue these pages contain the names of global banking families and high-level politicians who are safe from the agency's eyes. Then there's the quantum mirage theory. It's one of the more terrifying ones. It posits that the NSA has already achieved quantum computing, and the redactions are hiding the fact that all current encryption is already obsolete. In this view, BULLRUN wasn't just about weakening standards, it was about preparing the world's data for a future where a quantum machine could decrypt everything at once. The agency might currently just be harvesting data to be read later, making our current security nothing more than a comfort blanket for the doomed. And lastly, there is the sentient filter conspiracy. It's kind of eerie, and it suggests that the redacted pages describe an AI-driven semantic filter that lives within the internet's backbone. Speculators believe the system doesn't just decrypt data, but uses early large language models to predict and correct civilian thought patterns in real time by subtly altering search results or social media feeds. The theory claims the redactions hide the fact that BULLRUN evolved from a massive listening program into an active, automated social calibration engine that manages public consensus without anyone realizing their opinions are being optimized by an algorithm. Was BULLRUN a success? Tactically, it was a crushing victory. The agency gained unprecedented access to the world's most private data without the public, or even many of the tech companies, knowing for over a decade. They successfully turned the going dark fear into an era of absolute light. Strategically, it was a masterful win. While the agency got the data, the 2013 leaks caused a global collapse in trust that led to the development of end-to-end encryption that is much harder for the agency to bypass today. Ultimately, it was a success because it functioned as a silent artery for intelligence. It effectively turned the world's greatest communication tool into the world's greatest surveillance tool. The sheer scale of the operation and the fact that it remained hidden for so long is a testament to its operational perfection. Beyond the leaks, the program provided a blueprint for how to weaponize the global supply chain, a tactic that has since become the gold standard for cyber warfare. It successfully demonstrated that in the digital age, subversion is far more efficient than brute force. The fact that the most sensitive technical details remain redacted over a decade later proves that the agency still considers the BULLRUN methodology to be their most potent weapon. Beyond the technical access, it succeeded in creating a permanent psychological advantage where foreign adversaries can never be entirely certain that their secure communications aren't being read in real time. It successfully institutionalized the concept of information dominance as the primary goal of American signals intelligence. As far as operational and technological breakthroughs are concerned, the ciphers and control of BULLRUN led to breakthroughs that defined the modern cybersecurity landscape, such as vulnerability seeding, the art of introducing subtle flaws into code that appear to be accidental errors. Today, this is used in advanced persistent threat defense to create honeypots that trap hackers. Large-scale decryption architectures, the engineering required to process petabytes of encrypted data. This technology is the foundation for modern big data analytics used by search engines to categorize the world's information. Side channel analysis, learning to read a system by its power consumption or heat. This is now a standard tool in hardware security auditing to ensure that microchips are not leaking sensitive information. And cryptographic policy manipulation, the use of international standards bodies to steer technology. This is used today in the development of post-quantum cryptography standards. BULLRUN reminds us that in the digital world, the person who builds your house usually has a spare key. The program proved that math is only as strong as the people who implement it. We are all still living in the world of the broken key, where every secure connection is a leap of faith. The locks may be newer and the keys may be longer, but the shadows in the server rooms haven't gone away. Trust is the first vulnerability, and once it's broken, it can never truly be encrypted again. We have traded the safety of our private thoughts for the convenience of a connected life, and the NSA was the first to realize just how cheap that trade really was. The internet was meant to be our greatest library, but BULLRUN ensured it would also be our most comprehensive confession. The keys to our kingdom were never lost. They were simply never ours to begin with. In the end, the only true encryption is a secret never shared, even with the machine. Our reliance on digital architecture has made transparency a mandatory requirement for existence, whether we consent to it or not. The legacy of this program is the permanent erasure of the boundary between the private self and the public state. Thanks for listening. Stay encrypted, stay skeptical, and remember, a secret is only a secret as long as you're the only one with the key. Join us next time as we examine MK Rough. In the hidden training grounds of the CIA, the agency didn't just train agents, they forged them through fire. We'll uncover the facts behind MK Rough, the program for physical stress testing and resilience training of personnel. It was a war of brawn and belief. Join us next time for The Iron Will. In the meantime, I'll see you in the archives.